Hi, I have to tell you about this book that I've just finished. Art books are expensive, and so I was really surprised how lovely this book is. It is about Peter Bruegel, the elder, the painter, the Dutch Golden Era painter. He died young, probably around 42, the age that he died at is in dispute. But this book, The Short Life in a Strange World, Birth to Death in 42 Panels by Toby Ferris, is extraordinary. So he spent 5 years visiting 42 panels in ink and oils that Bruegel. He also talks about the pronunciation of the surname. Extraordinary detail. There are quite a few illustrations in the book of the panels. You certainly want to go and investigate them further. He talks about Bruegel having a precise eye. His work has been described as ethnographic. So fastidious is it with detail of peasant life. And in the same way, his world landscapes never neglect shape of leaf or jizz of flying bird. A generic silhouette in the sky on long, closer inspection. A magpie or a cormorant. A foreground plant is not just an iris, but an iris germanica. The natural world adorns the schematic landscape, or the schematic landscape polarizes the naturalistic detail in a way that Roystahl or Habema or Constable or Monet would have understood. The real keeps impinging on the meaningfully arranged, and vice versa. We are caught in suspension between what God ordains and what Bruegel experiences, and the two are not necessarily aligned. He has a lovely sense of humor. Historians have looked at his pretzels that he paints for the regionality of those. He goes on to say, in compensation, Bruegel's is a rapid warming brushstroke, a smudge and a couple of flicks animate a child, a conscious breathing creature paddling on the ice. There is an energy in the crowd which I had not noted in reproduction. There are interactions. The small girl on the sled appears to be heading stoutly for a hole in the ice. Her mother is shouting a warning. A boy is play acting, firing an arrow at her. Two other boys are testing the ice with a great log. The whole scene is flecked with falling snow. The flecks, the last paint to be added to the panel. Each fleck differently considered, a different shape or size, a different shade of white. The census of Bethlehem. So you have these little details throughout the book, but you always want to go and have a better look at the panels themselves. So he spent about 5 years going and investigating, looking at all of these panels and writing about them. He again says his detachment is anomalous. The social world is our reality, whether we participate or observe at any given moment. We are social creatures. We hunt in groups, bears, mastodons. We survive together or not at all. But the social world is also the place where we fight for supremacy. We are all dragged onto the dance floor sooner or later. There we go along with everyone else, skittering around, bumping into people uncomfortable. And he describes the wedding dance. A few figures merely stand and observe, two benign burgher types to the left and right, for instance. And more curious still, the solitary figure towards the top of the painting, near the turf-cut benches and tables, with his back to the company. He stands there like one of Plato's philosophers, emerged from his cave and inspecting reality in the manner most habitual and comfortable to him, at a distance, sensing the presence of a sunlit social world. He also describes a man urinating against a tree. Another seems to have a woman in what is either an embrace or a headlock, whether grappling her towards the dance or engaged in something more brutal is not clear. So his writing style is charming. He talks about the triumph of death. There is a lovely illustration in the book. So you see the dead marching towards the coffins and the graves. You see the skeletons. We know that Bruegel used his fingers and thumbs to smudge still tacky paint. We know that he reversed his brush and scraped with the pointed end to bring texture to fabric. We know that he altered his preparatory underdrawing in his finished painting. So he talks about different mediums, different supports, different approaches. The career of the artist is an endless experimentation. But right at the end, he talks about transformational possibilities of the habitual. As with the figure in the engraving Summer, Bruegel understands the transformational possibilities of the habitual, the daily, the seasonal. Individual becomes social practice. Social practice precipitates out into individual. We hover always somewhere between. A delightful book that I can recommend.